Hey guys, today I want to talk to you about getting out of your own way. We don't need most of the things that we think that we need in order to have a good workout, and we become a slave to these habits that aren't even necessarily good habits. Up until about 5 or 6 years ago, I felt like I couldn't work out unless I drank a Red Bull. Psychologically, if I didn't drink that beforehand, I had that stuck in my head, and that would repeat itself over and over when I felt like I had a crappy set or a crappy handful of reps, or the overall workout itself was just subpar. I had something to blame it on. And I think that maybe we do that. Maybe we have these routines and these rituals before we work out, so that way we feel like we've checked all of the requisite boxes necessary to ensure a good workout. But we also have something that we can blame should our workout suck or should something go wrong. We need to get the hell out of our own way. We stand in our own way, whether we do it intentionally and say that we don't, or we do it unintentionally. The things that we rely on in order to predicate a good performance, we don't need any of it. We don't need any of it. The fact is the more that we eliminate those things, the more that we realize that subpar workouts are just part of the ebbs and the flows. Some of my greatest workouts have come on days that I didn't get much sleep, or that I ate a meal immediately before my workout. And I credit the quality of those workouts to the quality of my focus during those workouts. I didn't get myself all shaken up about not being able to go through a typical ritual prior to this. I didn't get myself worked up about not feeling like I was adequately prepared. We could say that it sucks all that we want the entire time that it's happening, but the fact is that as long as we're doing whatever it is that we were set out to do, then we're getting closer and closer to the finish line. It's gonna end, and you're gonna have done what it was that you set out to do. Everybody's got a number in their head. Most people have a number in their head of what distance presents somewhat of a wall for them. For me, for the longest time, it was actually a 5K. It was about 3.25 miles. For me, there was some sort of like bow shock that existed between my efforts to try to get to cross this threshold and the universe's efforts to try to keep me from doing it. Looking back at what it was that was keeping me from doing that 3.5 miles, from keeping me from crossing a line that I had drawn in my head as a measure of progress, the more importance I put on it, the harder it got to do, the closer that I got to achieving it. And now I'm a little bit more of a seasoned runner. My workouts are generally pretty wicked and real tough. And if I sat there and I thought about the things that I needed to do prior to doing these workouts, I would, any single one of these workouts would be nearly impossible for me. So putting these things in our head that we need to eat a carb heavy meal prior to running 10K, or you have to stretch beforehand. The activity that we're about to do relies not at all on the song and the dance that we perform prior to it. It matters if your body's prepared. And any of the endurance athletes out there know you can do anything at any time with any circumstances and do it well enough. Our emotions are an insidious thing sometimes. They get in our head. They tell us that we're unprepared, that we're unable or inept at doing certain things. But if you just took a step back and looked at what it was that you just did, fact is you still get to check that box. You did what it was that you set out to do. You might not have had a stellar performance doing it, but that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter at all. What matters is that you did it, because the next time you're presented with similar circumstances where you might not be able to prepare for what it is you're about to do in the ways that you would typically prepare, or you're just not feeling it that day, or you've got issues, you can always rely on the fact that you did it. You know that you did it during a time that you weren't prepared to do it. And that gives you the strength and the ability to look forward at what it is you're about to do and say that, you know what, I did this under worse circumstances before. This is nothing. So, much like meditation, where the practice is largely bringing yourself back to a clear mind and a focused attention, if you expand upon that, exercise and fitness is no different. You can fail as long as you bring yourself back to the mindset that said, no, this is what I'm here to do, so this is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to do my best. Your best might suck one day, but if you did it, you still get credit for doing it. Your mindset might allow you to absolutely crush it today, and you have no idea that that's waiting for you. Stop thinking about what it is that you need to do prior to these finish lines that we put in our head. The hard part about that is just getting your mind out of the way. We build these walls almost intentionally so that way we have reasons to stop along the way. But the fact is that, couch to 5K, I don't think that should really take anybody more than 2 weeks in most cases. There's some instances out there where there's people that need a little bit more conditioning and preparation than that, but I would say that's certainly more the exception than it is the rule. If you can run a mile, you can run 5 miles. It might be slower than what you ran the mile at, but the fact is that the machine can handle it, and it can handle it at a particular intensity that's not destructive. And so long as you keep your mind out of the equation and either figure out a way to mute the voice in your head or otherwise ignore it, you're capable of so much more than what you give yourself credit for. It's almost as though we expect that there needs to be certain points of resistance along the way. And there really doesn't, because there really isn't.